It's time for
Hey, what's up, guys? Franco here with NextLevelBallPlayer.com. Broke into Alan Jager's hotel room, talk baseball. Appreciate you letting me in.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah. So let's jump right into it. Long toss is a buzzword that is out there. How would you define long toss, and what has your program? What does that mean in your throwing program?
Well, I think first of all, long toss is just something that everybody has their own way of getting to know their arm, so it's kind of hard to put too much of a broad stroke around it. But the idea is long toss is to start allowing your arm to grow like an organism and stretch out. So to not put limits on it, to not put constraints, to not say that make this many throws or throw for this many minutes. Mm-hmm. It's actually to allow a player to really get intimate with their arm by learning how to stretch it out, so that we can move further and further distances. And once you get further and further distances, you start building endurance, which is great. Mm-hmm. And at some point, they start being able to get real aggressive in a safe and healthy way. So long toss to me is really more about putting a player in a position where they can really find out what's in their arm by allowing it to expand and really throw more rather than less. And I mean throw more, not necessarily on amount. I mean throw more as far as just for conditioning purposes.
Mm-hmm. And you have all your guys do a warm-up program before you start throwing, correct? Can you kind of give us a overview?
This is the baby we just pulled out, the
Mm-hmm.
J-band, and this has been around probably 30 years. It's very common in rehabilitation, and pretty much we've taken the theory of rehabilitation and just applied it prior to the throwing that day. And so all the good things you do in rehab to get the arm back in very healthy shape, specifically the rotator cuff muscle group and some of the supporting muscle groups, we want that action applied to the shoulder and the arm prior to, and even the body. We get the body involved as well. So we want that all happen prior to throwing, just like you would stretch your hamstrings out really well if you're going to run a 60-yard dash. Mm-hmm. And I joke around at the convention this whole weekend, but I've told the story to many coaches, but we get panic calls from players and parents and agents when a player loses their bands or leaves it in a field. Mm-hmm. Because the thought of them not doing their bands prior to throwing is really foreign and very awkward at this point of their career.
Yeah. So as far as the long toss program, who are some of the guys, just so they know out there, that you've worked with, they're in the big leagues and prospects coming to you?
I think the most well-known names is Barry Zito and Dan Herron. From a point of view, which I always found kind of cool, until Barry went on the disabled list last year with an ankle problem. Mm-hmm. Barry and Dan had both never been on the disabled list, period, in their whole careers. Same with Herron, still's never been on DL.
Right.
And Barry's only been on it for non-throwing related things, and they're 1 and 3, and I think Burley is number 2. So they're 2 of the top 3 in all of baseball, and as long as they've been playing, so I think it's maybe 10 years now.
Yeah. As
far as the health thing and prospects coming up, well, I mean, Trevor Bauer was a big part of this convention with Ron Woolforth, and he spent time in our booth. He's been doing our long toss since I think 12, and he's obviously a very well recognized name, being Golden Spike Sword winner last year.
Right.
Also, universities. I mean, just to throw that in there while we're at it. I mean, some of the most respected programs in the country, the Fullertons of the world, the UCLAs, the Oregons, Vanderbilts, Air Force Academy, one of my best buddies, Tim Dixon. It's just
they bought into it.
It's neat. It's just part of the world, and that's just kind of scratching the surface of those universities. And believe me, it's a neat feeling that so many coaches that I respect so much are. That this is part of their world. I mean, there's a lot of other things part of the world. There's a lot of great things out there. Like I said, Ron Woolforth, Brent Strom, Jerry Weinstein. There's so many. Perry Husband, but it's just neat that they've between the bands and long toss. It's a very important part of their program.
How about ball players out there that historically their long toss just means stretching it out, throw it, no real organization? Where's the starting point that you would, when you meet with a pitcher that wants to get his arm stronger and more velocity, what's the beginning process?
I think the beginning process is helping him understand how to build his base. In other words, how to integrate the long toss program into his world. The whole concept of maybe for a week or two, you're just going to kind of stretch it out slowly and surely. You're not going to go right into throw it as far as you can and pull down as hard as you can. And maybe understand a little bit more of the rhythm of how the arm is built up and how it's best optimized for conditioning and when to integrate bullpens so that you have good recovery periods so that you can maintenance well. And so long toss is pretty basic on its surface, but how it pertains to all these different areas is very, very deep and very involved. Not so complicated. So it's a process. There's an article actually online that we have that's called Off-Season Throwing Program. It pretty much walks you through what you should look for in day one and the first week and kind of the second week and when you start getting a little more aggressive, and it gives them ideas. They're all pointers. At the end of the day, everybody's different how they get into shape, but this is a very good way at least to take some cliff notes of where I probably should be about here and about there, and something as simple as to listen to your arm as opposed to them going out and only throwing for 3 minutes that day because it's day one. As opposed to, oh no, I'm not going to throw for 3 minutes. I might only throw to 60 feet today, but I might throw for 30 minutes because it's like a massage and makes my arm feel good, and I'm going to have a better day tomorrow and speed up my cycle because of it, as opposed to somebody said just throw for 3 minutes or make 12 throws today,
Right.
and I'll make 20 throws tomorrow, and that to me is missing the boat. So I guess back to the question, it's about really understanding the rhythm and really the chronology of events of what to kind of expect to happen. Most kids wouldn't know that by about week 4 or 5. You can probably go about as far as you want and pull down about as hard as you want 4, maybe 5 days a week and have great recovery period. And that might be really foreign to somebody because they didn't know how to build the base right. They have no clue really how to listen to their arm. So it's important, it's really important for them to kind of grasp this part because once they do, boy, what people don't realize is the arm is an organism and it can do amazing things if you allow it to grow properly.
There's jagersports.com, and we'll include a few links. There's some great YouTube videos out there with Trevor Bauer and kind of outline the ins and outs of the throwing program so that you guys can start doing it on your own. All right, I want to ask about where does long toss fit in for the pitcher in season? The tendency would probably be to pull back, but where do you see that fits into, let's just say, for a starting pitcher?
Well, again, if you go to our website, there's also an article on in-season throwing, so it gives you kind of a rhythm of how that looks. Again, it's not perfect. It could be perfect for somebody, but don't be afraid to tweak it. But generally speaking, on a 7-day rotation, if they were to start on a Tuesday, the Tuesday and then 3 full days off, so the 4th day, which is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So then Saturday is their bullpen day. See, I want as much recovery period as possible before I get them on the mound again. So Tuesday and Saturday, ironically, are their 2 best long toss days in season. The rest of the days are built around either recovering or building up. So basically, it's some guys who are really in good shape and know this program well. They'll have a great long toss day the day of their start. The next day
before the game.
Oh God,
yeah,
they have to because that's what Bauer will go 360 the day of his start because he has to. If he goes anything less than that, his arm's not going to be prepared, opened up, freed up, is well conditioned. He's going to get max effort mode going in inning 1. But because he went out as far as basically he could or needs to, our theory is that he'll basically throw all day. So people will worry about saving bullets for the game. It's the opposite. You constrict the arm and you haven't really opened it up properly, then you start max efforting in the mound, bullpen, in the game. You basically went from 3rd gear to 6th gear.
Yeah.
Immediately. And the arm wants to flush out all 5 gears. And then it'll start hitting 6th gear maybe in the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, 9th inning. And that's the case with Bauer. And Bauer uses a symbol, but that's kind of the mentality of our players, and that's very consistent with actually what happens. And I know this from especially our guys in pro ball. Our guys are the guys around August and September that are still maintaining their velo, while guys have checked out with their velocity by July in a lot of these players.
Sure.
So it tends to be probably 3 good days a week and get some pretty good distance in. And pro ball, it's going to be 2 days. It's going to be the start day and day 3. And those are their 2 best long toss days. The other days are just kind of stretching it out, a lot of tubing, and just kind of flushing out and kind of building up for the bullpen, which is going to be the work day, the long toss day.
Right. So you're long tossing before you start and before you throw your pen.
Bingo.
So, yeah. This is Alan Jager. Appreciate you taking the time, swinging by,
Hey,
helping us out.
my pleasure. Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor, so thank you.
It's great.
It's time for